Welcome to the TOEFL Listening section. In this section, you will listen to an academic lecture and then answer questions about what you heard. You may take notes while you listen. You will have time to review your notes before answering the questions. Listen to part of a lecture in a university class. You will hear the lecture only once, so listen carefully. After the lecture, you will answer some questions about what you heard. Some questions ask about the main ideas and supporting details. Other questions ask you to make inferences or connections between ideas. Answer each question based on what is stated or implied in the lecture.
Good morning. Today we will examine animal migration patterns and the biological mechanisms that underlie seasonal movements. Migration is a widespread strategy for exploiting seasonal resources, avoiding harsh conditions, and maximizing reproductive success. I will describe orientation and navigation mechanisms, proximate and ultimate causes, and highlight several case studies across taxa. First, consider proximate mechanisms. Many migrants use a compass sense to maintain direction. Birds display celestial orientation, using the sun and the stars, and they can detect polarized light at dawn and dusk. Some species use a geomagnetic compass. Sea turtles and some fish detect magnetic intensity and inclination to infer latitude. Olfactory cues are critical for species like salmon, which imprint on the chemical signature of their natal stream and later use scent to home. Beyond compasses, there are internal timing mechanisms. Endogenous circannual rhythms and photoperiodic responses trigger departure and arrival. For instance, many passerines begin migratory restlessness, known as zugunrue, in captivity when daylight shortens or lengthens. Hormonal changes mediate fat deposition and muscle remodeling that enable long flights. Now a few species-level examples. The Arctic tern undertakes the longest known migration, traveling from Arctic breeding grounds to Antarctic waters and back each year. Monarch butterflies in North America migrate multi-generationally from southern overwintering sites in Mexico to breeding grounds in Canada. Bar-tailed godwits perform remarkable non-stop transoceanic flights, covering over 11,000 kilometers in a single journey. Large mammals also migrate. Wildebeest in the Serengeti follow a seasonal loop dictated by rainfall and forage availability. Their movement demonstrates how resource tracking shapes migration corridors and timing. Caribou in the Arctic migrate to calving grounds where predation pressure is lower, showing how breeding success drives long-distance movement. Migration research has been revolutionized by technology. Satellite telemetry and GPS transmitters allow us to record precise routes and stopover behavior. Light-level geolocators and biologging reveal timing and speed. Stable isotope analysis provides information about geographic origins of tissues, and genetic markers can indicate population connectivity. These methods together reveal that many species use multiple redundant cues for navigation. Understanding stopover sites is critical. Migrants often cannot complete long journeys without refueling. Loss of stopover habitat due to development or agriculture reduces survival because animals arrive with insufficient fat reserves. A famous example is the decline of some shorebird populations when coastal wetlands were drained, eliminating essential refueling sites. Climate change and anthropogenic barriers complicate migration. Shifts in phenology can decouple arrival times from peak resource availability. Light pollution interferes with nocturnal migrants that navigate by stars. Wind turbines and habitat fragmentation create mortality risks and force altered routes. Conservation strategies, therefore, must consider full annual cycles and connectivity among breeding, wintering, and stopover sites. Finally, I want to emphasize the adaptive complexity of migration. It is not a simple reflex. Migratory behavior results from evolutionary pressures interacting with sensory biology, endocrine control, and learning. For example, some species refine routes socially, with juveniles following experienced adults, while others rely more on innate programs. This mixture of inherited and learned components makes migration both robust and vulnerable. In summary, animal migration patterns are shaped by a suite of mechanisms, including magnetic, celestial and olfactory cues, internal timing systems, and ecological drivers like resource distribution and predation. Modern tracking and analytical tools have clarified routes and stopover importance, which is vital for effective conservation. That concludes the overview, and we will now move to questions.
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
Protecting stopover sites is as important as protecting breeding and wintering habitats because many migrants rely on refueling along the route.
This concludes the listening section. For more TOEFL practice tests and study materials, visit spinta.org.